Have you ever experienced a God wink? You know, the kind of experience you know without a shadow of a doubt that God stepped in and gave you a big old wink from heaven. I'm your host, Cindy Spar, broadcasting from Office Evolution in Troy, Michigan. I am the founder of My Collective Network and My Christian Business Network, two amazing business networking organizations. I am a firm believer that there is power in sharing God wink stories. Think of it as a way for people to shine their light on Jesus, one wink at a time. In Matthew 5:14, it says, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." I am so excited. Today we are going live from Office Evolution Troy. My name is Cindy Spar, host of The God Wink, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing such a special woman who has such a unique story, a God Wink story that I just think the world needs to hear more of. So what I'd like to do is introduce to you Erin Jack.
Hi.
So Erin and I, we've met at church, and she has been on such a special journey through this in her life in such a special way. And you know, Erin, I think the world needs to hear what you have to say, because I've never heard someone speak in such boldness and such true authenticity until I heard you speak at your baptism.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
So I just want to take a little bit of time and have you share with everyone how God's impacted your life and inspire us in how we can incorporate God into our lives as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I feel really honored to be on here. And I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl, and I'm married. My husband and I have been together for 12 years. And I just recently found Jesus about 2 months ago and got baptized, which was awesome. And a big God wink for me was my story with bulimia. And so it started for me in 2016. I lost about 40 pounds just from diet and exercising. And after I lost the weight, I was very concerned of gaining the weight back. So one day, I ate a meal that I didn't feel too great about afterwards, and a thought came in my head, like, maybe I can just throw up, and it's not that big of a deal. So that's what I did, and I didn't realize that it would turn into a very vicious eating disorder. So I struggled with it on and off for about 5 years. It would peak at when I would diet, and so that's when it would be its worst. But so the summer of 2021, I had a family member move in with me. I was really stressed out, just having the dynamics of my house changed and trying to figure that out. So my bulimia got really bad during that period, to the point where I was doing it for every meal 3 times a day. And I could feel the physical effects it was having on me. I remember I would have a lot of chest pain and feel a lot of fatigue. And so then I noticed that I started to get these lumps on the side of my neck. And at that point, I knew, okay, it's starting to get serious. And I tried to call like an 800 number to get help. They didn't call me back, or something didn't go through with that, and I just forgot about that idea. And so I made an appointment with my doctor, and also it was a secret. No one knew about this. So I made an appointment with my doctor, and at first, when I went to my appointment, I wasn't comfortable telling him because it was like my secret that no one knew of. So I just pretended like I didn't really know why this was happening on my neck, these swollen lymph nodes, even though I knew that these were symptoms of bulimia. And so he made an appointment, or referred me to get an ultrasound done on my neck at the hospital. So I go to that appointment a week or two after. And so I go in and see the lady who's doing the ultrasound on my neck, and I figure in my head I might as well just come clean with her because this is serious, and I know that it can kill you and make your teeth rot out and all of these terrible things that could happen from it. So I figured I'm just going to come clean to her. And so I told her, you know, I've been struggling with bulimia. I'm not like naturally skinny, so it's been a challenge for me dealing with my weight, so that's why I do this. And she went on to saying how her husband of 18 years just left her because he said she gained some weight and he didn't like the way she looked anymore. And I remember I was kind of in shock, her being so open and saying this to me, because we just met 2 minutes ago. And she was saying, like, lecturing me on how I look fine and I don't need to do this to myself. And then she kept going on about Jesus and saying how she made this bold statement saying that she thinks that she's going through this with her husband because of me. She thinks God's putting her in this position to help me. And at the time, I'm an atheist. I don't even believe in God. So I'm kind of just going along like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, because I don't want to say that. I always kind of hid that from me because you get judged when you tell people you don't believe in God. So I went along, and then she would just keep on talking about Jesus, and then she gave me a hug afterwards, and I left. And I remember when I left the hospital and I was walking to my car, something felt different. It felt like, I just remember the sky being extra blue, the sun was shining, the clouds were like perfect, and I felt good. It felt like I was in a movie or something. It just didn't feel like real life, walking from the hospital doors back to my car in the parking lot. And from after that moment, I never threw up again, made myself. I never had the urges to.
Wow.
And I literally got healed from that one encounter with her. And before that, it was so bad where I would eat and I would try to tell myself, okay, I'm not going to throw up after. I'm not going to. And I couldn't help it. It was controlling my life, and I couldn't control it even how much I tried. So it was crazy how after I left the hospital, I didn't even have the urge to. And I've been on diets, because that was in 2021. I've been on diets since then and gone through stressful times, and it never crosses my mind. Sometimes I would even forget that I struggled through that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so it just makes me so grateful for Jesus and the fact that he did that for me even when I denied him. I think just shows how amazing of a God he really is. Because I know I'm not worthy, and I turned my back on him pretty much my whole life, and he still saved my life because I was slowly killing myself with being bulimic. And I realized that he can really heal people. And I feel like sometimes a lot of people I know lose faith of the miracles that he does, especially in this modern day we live in. And just that alone, I know that he can heal any type of situation, because logically it doesn't make sense.
Right.
You don't walk into a hospital and then leave cured.
Right.
If that was the case, no one would have addiction.
Yeah.
So that's why I know it was God who did that. And especially because the lady who did the ultrasound was preaching him to me.
Yeah.
And I'm so appreciative for her. I tried to reach out a couple of times to see if I could talk to her, because I know that he used her.
An angel in the
me.
room.
Yeah.
Now, I would be interested to hear, coming from a space of non-believer, right? And then leaving and feeling like you saw the world in a whole different way. How did it land when you would try and talk about it? Like, did you try and talk about it with family? Did you ever feel like any doubt try and creep in of, was that God? Was that really him? Or, tell us more about that.
Yeah. So as an atheist at the time, I tried to rationalize that as I just needed a good pep talk. Which now when I think about it makes absolutely no sense. So I was still stuck in my ways. That wasn't the turning point that made me want to believe in him. And I think a lot of it too, because I was younger at the time, I feel like just going through your 20s, you're figuring yourself out. Yeah. You're not as mature. I'm not as mature as I am now in my 30s. So I think it was just me stuck in my ways and just wanting to believe in what I wanted to believe in and deny the miracles that he was doing. So, yeah, I thought I just needed a good pep talk, but that doesn't make any sense.
Well, what would you say to even people out there that maybe they're struggling with anorexia or other types of struggles or even addiction, and they're like, I feel like I prayed a lot and I'm just not hearing, or I'm not getting the healing. What would you say to that person that feels like they're discouraged and where they're at, and that God just doesn't hear them?
So for me, the turning point was surrendering to him. I surrendered to him and his will. So I noticed all these huge miracles after, and him actually answering my prayers once I gave my life to him, and not living for the world, but living for his will. And I think for me personally, when I walk his path, I see him in a big way, like every day. Because I feel like sometimes people can struggle with having one foot in the devil's door and one foot with God. And I feel like just totally giving your life to him, and a lot of good things will come from that. And I think sometimes maybe people are scared of giving up the ways of the world or their sin. And what I realized is everything that I gave up when I surrendered to him, he has healed me so much that that's not even something I value anymore. So now when I live for him, I'm feeling like a happiness, a freedom that I've never felt in my entire life.
It's amazing.
And I feel like I have purpose, and I want to live for him, and I feel complete. Before, it's always like searching for something, and he fills me up with everything I need. So I'm not searching for anything anymore. I feel like I could die today and feel like I did everything I needed to.
So good. Yeah, and just so, he did something so special in your life that I guarantee the people that listen in, he knows who needs to hear this right now. And he knows exactly who's like borderline. Can I trust God? Can I believe that God's going to be there for me? Is he even really God, right? But you have authentically said, listen, I know he's real. I know he put this in my heart, and I've been through this for a reason. And I like how you said that he gives us a purpose. Because so many people, I hear them saying, I'm not quite sure what my purpose is, right? Like trying to find it and asking God, what is my purpose? Like with an open heart of like, what is it that you have for me? So that if I were to die today, I would know that I walked in what you had for me while I was here. So I absolutely love, and this is only a piece of your story, because I know that there's been so many things. You've been on fire for God, and like any Christian, especially a new Christian, I love the energy that they're like, do you understand how real he is? And just kind of bringing those that maybe feel like they've gone flat or stagnant, like lighting them up with your energy. And if there was anything that you could share with our listeners that you want to make sure without a shadow of a doubt they walk away with based on what you've experienced, what would your message to the listeners be?
My message would be have faith. In the beginning, when I was finding Jesus, I still had doubt. I was struggling here and there. Even I was going through like some supernatural things that were scary at first, but I decided I'm just going to trust him 100%. And I realize when I put all my trust in him, and I have to stop myself sometimes from worrying or having anxiety or not being sure, and I think of all the things he's done, and it reminds me like, he's got me. I'm giving you all my trust. I'm giving you my life. Just you take me where you want to go, because you know best.
Yes.
I did things my way, and it didn't work out that well. I am doing everything your way, and giving him like all of your trust. That's what I would recommend, because he does know everything.
What's best for you.
He knows what's best for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's so interesting that I feel like oftentimes when we make our own plans, he comes in and disrupts the plans. If he's not disrupting something, you kind of know, like, am I depending on him, or am I leaning more into what I, only what I have in store? So, well, I am just so thankful to hear you share your story with our listeners, and I just can't wait to see what God has in store for you. I think this is just the beginning. I don't think it. I know it.
Aww.
He's going to continue to use you to witness to other people and draw them into his light. Thank you so much, Erin, for spending time with us today. And thank you, listeners, for spending time with us today on episode 2 as we dive into people's God wink stories. Yes. So once again, if you have a God wink story, we want to hear it. So plug in, share within our community on Facebook for the God wink, and we look forward to having you listen in on episode 3.
Thank you.
I want to give a big thank you to Office Evolution Troy for providing their podcast studio for us this afternoon to record. If you have any questions or you would like to book your own time in their podcast studio, give them a call at 586-788-9966. If today's God Wink story really hit home with you, we would love to hear about it through the God Wink community on Facebook. If you know of someone that needs to hear today's God Wink story, show them some love and tag them on the God Wink podcast. You never know how a God Wink story might change their day around for the better. If you or someone you know has a God Wink story that the world needs to hear, we want to hear it. Simply click the link within the podcast notes to send in your God Wink story. Until next time, remember, God's got you. Wink, wink.